Are we ready?
We're ready.
All right. Dad jeans. Dad
If
jeans.
you're looking for a picture of an East Coast elitist, you could not draw like if you went into a police sketch artist and were like, draw me a picture of a East Coast elitist,
Of Phineas from A Separate Piece.
he would draw Jared Kushner.
He would.
How is this guy? How is anyone in Middle America how do they have anything but loathing for this gentleman?
I mean, and how do they not jounce the limb every time he goes out onto it?
Yeah,
Jounce the limb.
Are we here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're dad jeans, ladies and gentlemen.
We're dad jeans.
I got to cut in. I got to start out. I got to jump in because we have a very special guest tonight. For the first time ever on Dad Jeans. This is a Dad Jeans exclusive, a Dad Jeans first. We have a very special guest, and it is a real American teenager.
Oh, I got questions for you.
Oh my gosh, we have so many questions for teenagers.
Yep.
Would you like to, can you say hello? Tell us your name. What is your name, teenager?
Ruby.
That's Ruby. Okay,
Ruby.
Ruby. So nice to meet you.
She seems to be something of a reticent conversationalist, like many teens.
Yeah, she's on her phone right now.
Yep, staring at things, inter-chatting on the webs to tweets.
But we have some questions for you, Ruby. So my first question to you, if you would come up to the mic, what is it? Put down your phone, Ruby. Ruby, I know the phone is attractive, Ruby, but put down your phone.
Bleeps and bloops.
How do you like being a teenager?
Well, it is very fun.
What are some of the most fun parts about being a teenager?
In college, I eat pancakes for breakfast every morning.
Not bad. Are you on the meal plan?
Do you get free breakfast at college?
No, I have to pay for it with my money.
Doing it the honest way. That's what I like to hear, Ruby.
Yeah. Are you working a job right now so that you can pay for college?
And pancakes.
Yes.
Thank you, Ruby. Thank you for joining us. That was our guest, Ruby, the high schooler.
Yay!
The
and
teenager.
I have no concerns about the world when it is in Ruby's hands.
No, I think Ruby's going to do us proud.
Yep.
If I know Ruby, so we got to jump into it, and the teenager and the kids have to go to bed. Okay, I don't know how much of that will make it in, but Brendan, you always have your job cut out for you.
I do, don't
as the editor of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Dad Jeans.
Hello.
We're
Dad Jeans. And Jeans.
And Jeans.
Good night, girl und boy.
Good night.
Dame und Herr.
We're actually sad Jeans tonight.
Junge und Mädchen.
Yeah.
We're sad Jeans.
Because how long can this madness keep up, Brendan?
It is amazing. Like the ban on trans people in the military, of which there are 15,000. Did you know that?
I do now, since that fact has been repeated in the news, but I never would have guessed.
I figured there'd be 9 or 10.
Yeah, how many people are in the military total?
Millions.
30,000?
Millions. I think
It's like half the military.
Jeff, you and I are in the military. We don't even know it.
Oh, yeah. I know it, but I'm not supposed to reveal it.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you ever seen me do Krav Maga? How is that pronounced?
Krav Maga.
Krav Maga.
Wait, are you in the Israeli military?
I am. Isn't it the most like it sounds like a SpongeBob like martial art?
It does.
Krav Maga.
From Bikini Bottom.
Yeah. Arg. Yeah, no, that's the weirdest. Where the hell did that come from?
Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Was it made up by Israelis?
I believe so, and it's their martial art. Wow. The same way in Brazil they have
Jiu-jitsu.
No, yes.
Oh.
And they have capoeira.
Capoeira.
Yes. Brazilian fight dance.
You know, our friend Ryan Majestic does that.
Ah, Ryan Majestic.
It's like basically the beginning of the Beat It video, right?
Yeah, you have to have tendons for days to do capoeira.
What? How do you get tendons for days?
Framing advantages. You're just born that way.
Oh, really?
Like, because you have to bend over and then your leg comes around and kicks the other guy in the face. But then he dives out of the way, and then he stars in City of God. At the end, I can't think of any other Brazilian things. And then everyone yells, "Obrigado!" Before you see that's Portuguese.
I'm
As
sorry.
is Lacio.
I'm like the
which
guy
is
from Police
trash.
Academy. What?
I was trying to think of everything Brazilian that I could while you were doing that guy. I remember that guy. What happened to him? Remember when See, that's kind of amazing.
What?
When he's playing the video game on his bed, but there is no video game.
Come get your bases.
All your mates are belong to us. And the guy walks by and he just stares at him for a while.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
That really
Michael
inspired me.
Winslow.
That was the sound effect guy?
That was his name, yes.
Wow.
Because he was a stand-up, but that was kind of his stand-up.
Oh, really?
I'll bet it would sound something like this. Meow.
That's pretty good, Michael Winslow. Oh, I mean Jeffrey.
Thank you. Give me a situation. I'll do the sound effects for it.
Enron boardroom shredding papers.
Okay.
That's uncanny.
Well, because it's right during the like shit's going down.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, and so
The feds are
they're all
pounding on the
excited.
door.
There's guys, yeah. This guy.
And,
It's like ham,
And Jack Abramoff and the Blackwater guy and Betsy DeVos are all like, we are involved, but you don't know our names yet.
You know what? These fucking guys, Brendan. These fucking guys.
Dude.
You mentioned Betsy DeVos.
Oh, her brother ran Blackwater. We've talked about this.
These guys. And I was just listening to Trumpcast. You ever listen to Trumpcast? I think I've mentioned
But Chapo
Trumpcast.
Trap House is the shiz bomb.
I'm not a fan, gotta say.
I've only listened to one episode.
The dirtbag left. I just feel they're a little like it's like a little bit like yeah, we can insult black people because we're doing it with our tongues in our cheeks.
Wait, dirtbag left. They refer to the left as the dirtbag left, as in like we're a bunch of dirty hippies.
That's what they refer to themselves as.
Oh, I see.
Dirtbag left. That they're like they're the alt right, the left's answer to the alt right.
Oh, which someone we know on Facebook refers to as the control left, CTRL left.
That's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he thinks that's like he uses control left to describe
Tumblerinas.
all of us who snowflakes,
Yeah.
people who care about human rights and decency.
And enforce political might be termed as political correctness or wokeness
That's
on
correct.
like Tumblr. Have you heard the term Tumblerina?
No, but
It's
I like
someone
it.
who goes around enforcing that stuff.
I love it. No, but my thing is so Trumpcast. This guy's talking about this talked to the author of this new Steve Bannon book. There's like a new book.
Oh
out
yeah,
about
yeah.
Steve
He was
Bannon.
on whatever.
Oh,
recently.
I'm sure. Yeah, he's on everything, right? And they have a fucking like apocalyptic Catholic, like Steve Bannon wants us to go back 600 years in history. Like
It's amazing.
Literally his philosophy.
Yeah.
And fucking Betsy DeVos is like got the like apocalyptic post like whatever the Left Behind thing. Like she's
Jesus.
into that like we're all gonna. We need to hasten the apocalypse.
Well,
so
this
that
is what they were
good
doing in the
souls
Bush
can go to
administration
heaven.
too. George Bush's entire Middle East policy was based on hastening the apocalypse.
Is that true? That
Yeah.
was all the Opus Dei.
All those whack jobs. It was all based on revelations, and it was all like Israel needs to be in the Middle East because that's what will bring about Judgment Day and blah blah bloop. Like that's why the conservatives
Okay.
are such fans of Israel.
Right. No, that is true. That is true. So that's been with us. I guess it just feels more like that was kind of like in the back of their minds, but they were also kind of just like fucking Republicans who wanted to cut taxes and drown government in the bathwater.
But what about this? What if they were actually kind of like terrifyingly smart?
Yeah.
And now they're just fucking idiots. So they're being more overt about it and therefore getting even less of it done than during the Bush administration, because in the Bush administration you had smart people who were fucking crazy believing all this garbage, but they were smart.
Yeah.
So like Wolfowitz and Rumsfeld and all these guys and Ashcroft and Cheney.
Eagle soar.
What he lacked in chanteusness. I cut you off. Anyway, maybe we're slightly better off because this crowd is so much stupider.
Yeah, I just don't know if I feel like stupider might be an advantage. Like they'll get their shit done faster. They're getting the shit done, dude. They are getting it done. Trump's gonna fucking all these new federal judges he's putting in. Like he's destroying our
who are like dog
judiciary
catchers with handlebar mustaches. They aren't even like law. They haven't even passed the bar.
Oh, they're worse than that. They're like crazy men. Like they're people who like. Yeah, they're like I forget what this guy. I look up this one guy he put in. It's like something about he's like gone on record writing blog posts about like the lizard people. Like they're madmen. They're fucking.
How do you become
they're
a judge?
Fucking madman.
Oh.
Someone did this today on Twitter. It was parentheses closing credits of Jurassic Park. Marilyn Manson : he fucking did it. The madman.
Wait,
The scenario, it was just so I love Twitter, like how succinct it is. The scenario this guy was envisioning was Marilyn Manson watching Jurassic Park in awe and hearing the final music and just watching the screen and being like, Spielberg, the madman, he did it.
That is kind of amazing.
It played well. It played well in my Twitter feed. I laughed out loud. I LOL'd. Brendan, let's get into business.
Yeah, there's much to discuss.
I'm sorry we had that. So that clearly was not a teenager named Ruby.
No, certainly.
That was my daughter Hazel. She wanted to join us tonight, and
yeah,
she's working on her teenager impression.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
It's like from her introduction of herself as Ruby.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
She gets it. She gets it.
Late breaking news also for us before we get into it, not that we'll release this episode anytime soon, is Ryan Lizza's report of the Scaramucci conversation.
Yeah. Wow.
The Ballad of Reince Priebus.
Well, see, this is fun. That's fun to me.
Yeah.
Like this guy, he's a fucking press guy. He's a disaster. It's adorable.
It's pretty amazing. Talking about
I'm
Steve
okay
Banning like to
with all
suck his
that.
own cock.
Yeah. And that's the truth, man. Like, he's got those people nailed. Like, they're all fuckers. Like, good for Scaramouche, like, for the mooch to
Can
come
you do
in.
the Fandango? Or
Yeah. Look at these guys. I mean, I feel like he's at least, you said something like, we had a conversation with BLP about this. You said something about, like, he's at least the most likable of the bunch or something.
Yeah,
or
and
like,
I hate him the least of all of them.
Right.
The best line from his conversation with Lizzo was something like, well, they're just going to have to go fuck themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about everyone else he's like, he calls up Ryan Liz and he's like, I'm gonna fire. How would you like this? I got to find out who leaked to you. And Ryan Liz is like, I'm not gonna tell you. He's like, how about I fire every one of them? How about I fire everyone?
Then you haven't protected anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Lizzo was like,
I don't
go
care.
ahead.
Yeah, that's not my responsibility.
And there are a couple times he depicted himself as going, what?
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's fucking amazing.
Oh,
These
I read
people,
that. I ripped through that article.
they just get like drunk and coked up and then like just go to town.
It's Caligula.
I'm gonna call the New Yorker.
And
like,
the New Yorker of all places.
Yeah. I'm gonna call the New York. Yeah. That's your safe go-to place, Scaramouche.
Yeah, I feel like the hearts and minds will begin to turn if you can get the New Yorker readership to love Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they love Scaramouche.
I do now.
I do too.
I'm a big fan of that guy.
I'm a big fan. I think he's so much better. And then like a podcast I was listening to tonight was like, remember a week ago when everyone was like, oh, this is bad. The mooch is gonna come in and he's so much smoother than first of all than fucking. I've forgotten the guy's name already. Sam Spader or whatever.
Sam Spader.
Yeah, what's his Joker's name?
Sam Sadden.
Samuel Sadden. Everyone's like, he's way smoother than him. He's gonna run a tight ship, and like within a week, he's fucking lost his entire mind.
Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Spicer.
If you just go into the White House and touch a wall, you go insane.
Yeah,
it's like a Greek myth.
Right. I think you're right. Let's move into our segments. Let's get going.
Let's do.
I don't want. You know what? Why don't you choose? I have a bit of a compunction.
Oh.
It's a bit. Did we ever do it? We never did.
It remains our unthemed. We could put that to the listeners because compunction junction. What's my malfunction?
Yeah. Why don't you
use a theme song?
Why don't you call the hotline 323-484-4383 and sing us. You don't even need an instrument. You don't need anything.
Yep.
There's one person in our audience who's going to take us up on this challenge, and his name begins with Brian L. Sing us a theme song for Compunction Junction, and it will become the theme song of Compunction Junction.
Oh, that would be pretty great.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But we don't have that. We have I have compunction sort of to Brendan's trips around the world, or what is it? What segment is
Explains the world? Brendan explains the
Brendan
world?
makes sense of the world.
Makes sense of the world.
Should we do it?
Oh, with the theme song.
Yeah.
Okay. Brendan makes sense of the world.
Brendan makes sense of the world. Brendan makes sense of the world. He goes around the world and he looks at the world and then he makes sense of the world.
Why do we have to turn on this?
I just wanted to do the theme song again because last week it got kind of wonky because I was talking in the middle of it.
I know, and I kept it. I could have edited it so that didn't happen, but I was so charmed.
I appreciated that you did it but you know, the theme song, since it probably will not be, it'll probably be one of those, you know, it won't be an evergreen. It'll probably come up every once in a while. So I thought we should maybe go into it, you know, again.
I'm happy to make more sense of more of the world for you. If you
That's
like.
fine. Well, so here's what I was making sense of as I was listening last week.
Mm-hmm.
You were very cognizant of your cultural,
Circumspect, perhaps.
perhaps, of your cultural status when viewing the other,
Yes,
if you will.
and I shall.
Which I believe in your texts, that's how you referred to them. I don't think you were so rude as to do it on the air, but when you were texting me about it, you were like, "I would like to discuss the other tonight." No, that's I made that up, ladies and gentlemen. That didn't actually happen. But I observed as we were discussing this, and I fell prey to it too, that I was discussing it as if the entire American experience is the experience held by white men.
Interesting.
So you were examining it from an American's eyes and perspectives,
But in so doing,
and there were instances where you're like, you know, in America, like, poor people have their guns and they want to shoot people. Or I don't remember what you said. It was absolutely not that.
It was just bad. There was people eating deep fried napkins at Walmart.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That's hilarious. Did you just come up with that on the spot?
Yes, last week.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
did.
said that last week?
I really did say that
Deep-fried
last
napkins. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. But okay, so no, but you were just talking about the sort of what you observed from in Peru versus like what you would observe here, and it was like what you were describing was a very specific person who lives here, and I wonder if there are poor communities in America that would actually have a similar vibe to what you saw in Peru, because they're not full of people who are debased millionaires who think that white supremacists who believe that white people need to be at the top of the heap and feel all this anxiety because somehow they're not there.
I would contend.
Many groups of people in America, immigrants,
True.
you know,
All true.
people who have lived here for generations who don't have the white cracker background. So go ahead. Tell me why you're not a racist.
I will contend the following. With the exception, perhaps, of zeroth generation immigrants.
Okay.
I do believe that the weight of late stage capitalism and the mercenary nature with which we are all impelled to get ahead, from the grades you get in school to getting on the home ownership ladder to retirements imploding, the entire time you're alive, there is this achievement as it relates to wealth paradigm that weighs on everyone who lives here, no matter their race, creed, nationality, color, sexual orientation, or musical instrument preference. So, while it is true that in steerage everybody dances and has a great time and dances on the tables, and Billy Zane up top is smoking cigars and being a bore in a tux,
Love how boring he is.
nonetheless, there remains, even among those in steerage, I think, a sense of excelling such that, and meritocracy such that the brightest and shiniest of the pennies might double themselves into 2 pennies, that being wealth. So what I'm talking about is the psychocultural weight that sits on all of us.
Absolutely zero sense of upward mobility in Peru. You're saying that
I do not know
a
enough
phenomenon.
about it. That I don't know. Here's what I do know. There's the amount of subsistence farmers per capita in Peru is a lot more than 0 like it is in the United States, or 3 in Oregon. Meaning you live entirely off the grid, grow all of your food, break even, you have a little bit extra, you bring it to market, you trade for other shit you need, but you like grow the food that you eat, and all your resources are sort of like sustainable and reoccur inside of what you call your little fiefdom.
You're off the grid. You don't need anything. That sounds like
Right.
the perfect life.
So it's this economy that is sort of much more like that. That is, it's a lot different. That isn't allowed here at all because of privatization and the conquest for land.
What about freegans?
Freegans kind of have figured it all out,
Yeah.
and they eat well.
Yeah.
They live like kings,
They do live like
like
kings.
crusty punks.
Like free kings. Freeing kings.
Yeah. So our whole system has been so privatized to oblivion, to the point where it's not even an option for us.
Okay.
So there's a way of thinking that is completely excluded from the American experience because everything is fucking private property here.
I will say this. I have never lived as a black woman
Nor I.
in the South.
Nor I.
So I cannot say with certainty that everyone feels the same pressures or the same level of anxiety, existential dread, I guess you would call it, related to these major themes.
Mm-hmm.
And that when you're at when you're on the ground and just trying to fucking make it through the day, whether or not that even crosses your mind.
Totally
or if you're
fair.
just like sort of poor people everywhere are just like, fuck, man, I'm just got to get through the day.
Right.
And I'm going to have some laughs while I do it, but overall, like, not a lot of hope out there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yes. Yeah, they're not like necessarily downloading the self-help DVD content, or whatever, and they're gonna make something.
They're not like,
be a millionaire,
what does Tony Robbins have to say about
right?
this?
Although he's very popular because
Yeah.
of this mercenary spirit in the United States.
That's true.
And I would say that is still, it seems like that still relates to this system that puts the boot on the neck. You know, like there's still a system in place where.
But is that
everything
not
so
the global
mercenary.
system?
I feel like it's particularly mercenary here. I could be
Interesting.
wrong.
Well, you have incredible amounts of experience with it here.
Here, sure.
Yeah. I wonder if it manifests itself in different ways elsewhere.
Yeah, I wonder too. Yeah.
Like economy is still the fucking problem.
Yeah. I mean, Denmark.
Yeah, triangles,
Triangles.
right? I just want to make triangles.
The old triangle.
Yeah.
When jingle jangle.
Just want to look at furniture and make triangles.
I think that's what it is, yeah.
That was it, right? All right. Well, let's move into the first of our
Actually, it's
segments.
funny you should say that. In the certainty principle that we have sort of hatched here on Dad Jeans,
Yeah.
it ties in perhaps to our Advise Me Bro tonight.
Do we have a definition of our certainty principle?
That certainty is the enemy.
Certainty is the enemy. I guess that's pretty good.
We feel fairly certain about that.
I feel pretty, you know what, just in general, I find myself breaking many things down into the question of, like, where do I stand on this and could I see a different side of it?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a pretty good way to get through the world.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the people who are very certain about things are certainly assholes.
Certainly.
I'm very certain about that.
I suffer from a bit of the old certainty now and then, and that's a problem. I almost just called you Oscar, by the way.
It's very like, oh, that's okay. I call Hazel Eli and Sarah all the time, and and I find myself in strange circumstances that I don't want to get into. But no, that's the horrible whatever I just said. No, I hear that, Brendan, and I think it's our duty as humans to try to push against that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess there are certain things I'm certain of, right? Like
of this,
I like the Earth. I feel very, very comfortable with global warming science. I feel it's quite
proven.
It feels quite believable to me, and that is something that I am happy to submit to.
I think we've got terra firma on this one.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff I'm certain about, but so reading the *Sapiens* book. Are we going to do the fatherly advice? Is that going to be our advise me, bro? Is that going to be our first segment? Okay.
I think so.
I'm just hunting for the call, but reading the *Sapiens* book and thinking that everything is a story. It's really a very interesting framing device to sort of look at everything, and it just makes me realize that like the entire reason why Trump is getting away with what he's doing, and it kind of terrifies me for like the future, is that like he just said, yeah, I don't believe in that story, and he has convinced like millions of people in this country, we don't believe in that story either. So now, therefore, he has total control over the narrative for a certain segment of the population.
Yep.
Because he's creating the story. And we're just like, but no.
What about facts?
We have human rights. And he's like, yeah, they don't. No, we don't.
Yeah, right.
And you can't fight against it because you can't be like, God, don't you remember when God came and we have the video of God coming and saying these are human rights? He's like, no, that's not true. It's a fucking story. Like, we've made it up. Like, there's probably nothing wrong with killing someone. Like, there really isn't. Like, nothing's going to happen to you. I could probably stab you in the neck right now, Brendan, and that would be fine. Mm-hmm. And nothing would happen to me. I mean, I might
that escalated really quickly.
I'm setting you up for the first ever live podcast murder.
Snuffcast.
No, I really will. I am going to kill you.
I'm going to make a short film called Snuffcast. It's a really awesome project.
You could, I will.
I'm doing a Kickstarter.
I will donate to your Kickstarter. I was just about to say that.
We budgeted it out. It's going to be about $50,000.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really worth it because then we're going to hit the festival circuit.
And then it's going to be a web series.
And there's going to be a web series. But I'm using all Rolling Stones songs, so I can never put it on the internet. Yeah. But it's really important to the artistic vision. But give me $50,000 anyway.
How much does a stock Rolling Stone music cost? Okay, so we have a message from a listener, and they're asking for advice. Shall we listen?
We should. This listener has a great admirer in myself.
I guess I admire him too then. If Brennan admires he, I admire he.
Oh, that is in Latin. That would be ipso admiro
Vesuvius
erupto.
Yes, exactly. Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, did we play the theme song?
Oh, advise me, bro.
Advise me, bro. Cause I just gotta know. I got a motherfucking problem and you gotta show. Advise me, bro.
Hey, Dad. This is Jose Michael Rodriguez out in Boston, Mass. First time, long time. And doing a lot of thinking. And this one's going to be kind of dense, but having just listened to your last podcast, it kind of brought a few things to mind. I was just kind of mulling them over while I was driving. And Brendan had mentioned on the air about growing up in a commune and some of the things that happened around that. And I was wondering, whether it was on purpose or not. It seemed a lot like second wave, or at least some level of feminism. And I wonder how growing up in that culture and then going out to the world, the world, the patriarchal world, where the male-dominated world kind of hits you in the face. So I was just curious how that affected you and maybe your parenting style. Tangentially related, when we get talking about parenting style, you do have a kind of a nuclear family deal going on right now, where you're both happily married. You're raising the kids, you're doing the family thing, you're together, you're fighting the good fight together. One thing I never hear you guys talk about, and I think maybe it's because it's a little bit outside of who you are, is what about like guys like me who are single parents? What do you guys, think about how we do our job? It's a lot I've been thinking about lately, or, the cost of emotional labor that as men we put on women, or as a society we put on the primary parent. And I'm curious to hear your takes on it. Anyway, I hope you're well, and Brendan, I hope you're safe in Peru. Take care, guys.
Jose Michael.
Jose.
I thought those were fantastic points and fantastic questions.
Yeah, and a glaring omission, the fact that we have not addressed divorced parents in a significant way, if at all. I've been wanting to have our dear friend of the podcast, Brian Kahn, a.k.a. Bunny Fluteman, which is its own funny story, on the air because he is part of a blended family. Oh, yeah. And I've been wanting to figure it out forever, but when you and I get together at this point, it's so rare and so almost like, what would the word be? Come on, brain. Impromptu. Yeah. That it's hard to. But Brian, you're listening right now, trying to get over the hill and to work, and know that I've got my sights set on you.
Yes, I love that, and I really that makes me want to do more about parenting. Like, I'm so excited to hear someone actually call in. Yep. Like I feel like typically it's a very limited assortment of Dad Jeans listeners who call in. So I'm so happy to get these calls. Oh yeah. And who have, we all have like sort of similar experiences. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got a couple of, the reason, my answer to the question number 2 is that I don't, we don't talk about it much because I honestly don't think about that. Like life, it's just not my situation. Uh-huh. But I am like, I have incredible amounts of like sympathy and empathy for anyone who is doing it solo, because that seems like it's just such a different, there are so many things you would have to consider. I mean, like right now, like, I trust my wife when I'm not home will take care of the kids and I don't have to think about it. And she's not like secretly plotting to turning them against me. It's like, right, exactly. There are a lot of benefits to being in a relationship that, at least I hope not, that is at least on its surface healthy. Yeah.
And the thing that strikes me, I am the product of for 5 years my mom was a single mom between when my dad died and she got remarried to my stepfather.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm the product to some extent from 6 to 11 of single parents.
Those are very formative years.
Very formative years, yeah, exactly. And I think about I think now when Emily now goes away for long stretches. So I get a taste. Yeah. She's always coming back. And the moment she comes back, I'm like, going to the movies. Yeah. But she is gone for long periods. And I do a lot of quasi single parenting. Yeah. And it is fucking relentless.
It's relentless.
It's relentless.
It's relentless with 2 people. I can't even imagine how relentless it would be with one person.
God, yeah, just the ringalivio of like you have to be touching base at all times. Yeah. And their entire well-being, even when you have dropped them off and have a moment, you barely have time to think about how to get the next round of food into their head, because talk about relentless. Yeah. Jose himself had some issues with the last time when I was like, food, having to eat 3 times a day. That's relentlessness. Yeah. I think he was giving me shit at our high school reunion about that, or at some point, or maybe on Facebook. But anyway, it is. I completely salute divorced parents who have to worry about what's going on with an ex who they may not see eye to eye with, and then when they do have their kids, the complete and utter nonstopness of having to parent.
Sure.
Oh my God, you can get sick.
Yeah.
Like he says he's driving to and from work. How does he pull that off? How does any single parent pull off like making enough money to raise their kids? I don't get it.
Well, and with like alimony and stuff like that thrown into the mix too. That's a whole other thing.
Or a mom with like 2 kids whose dad run off.
Yeah. I will say though that divorced parents, single parents, who have full-time custody of their kids, like that one, I have no clue on that one. But divorced parents do get some luxuries.
Oh yeah, that is true. I guess they get half the week to.
They do get some positives. But no, I mean I can't complain. I've got like my wife has doing so much right now, man. It's like
Yeah.
I'm working until I get home at 7:30 every night. It's
That
like
is so bananas.
it's fucking
And
bananas.
the life in the ad game too.
Bananas.
And do they? I mean, they must give you keep the pressure on about when you're leaving. They're like, "Wow, you're leaving now. It's only 7."
At work?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're total dicks. I'm the first one out the door.
Oh,
It's
you
6:30
fucking
every
kidding me?
night.
That infuriates. And
And I'm the first one in the door too. That's the thing
No,
that no one
no.
ever sees.
Yeah.
Don't ever be the first one in the door. That's my fatherly advice.
you get
to
no
me.
credit,
You get no credit because no one ever sees you.
right? But they
Come
see
in
you
at
leaving.
11 and stay until 10 p.m. and
Yeah.
send an email when you're and like, hey, I think we need to change the scalping on this. I don't know what the I don't know. Like,
Kerning?
what's a kerning. Sure, let's change the kerning on this.
Did you ever see the Onion headline? Ad exec can't believe they want to add an L perf this late in the game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's pretty remarkable to have to do this yourself because also I soundboard off of Emily and me all sorts of things about just things about him.
Yeah.
And you know, it's
right.
it's
Exactly. It's like
strategy.
You can't, it almost like I mean I can imagine like you're coming your wife is dropping the kids off and you're like checking them for it's almost like checking them for lice. Like what are you now? What are you now? What'd she do to you? What'd she say to you?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you almost can't like you don't have that like I'm sorry, I'm sure Jose didn't call to like have us tell him his life is terrible. That wasn't the intention.
But it brings to light the fact that we need a lot more divorced voices on the air.
We need a lot more diverse voices. We need to hear some more. I think as we get into the 100th episodes, as we're about to, I think we need to get some real different voices in here. We need to hear from dads across the spectrum.
Yeah. Yep.
About
that's
their
true.
experiences.
I would like to say one other thing though.
Yeah.
About the
Elephant
single
dads.
parent.
We should get some elephant dads in here.
Oh yeah, where they have elephantitis.
Yeah. Yeah. What other kinds of dads?
Oh, do you mean dads of elephants?
I was thinking like the Elephant Man, like those kind, like the
Yeah.
in dad form, like those guys with kids.
Well, David Merrick probably had kids.
Wolf dads.
Did anyone sleep with David Merrick?
They wanted to, according to David Lynch's very erotic treatment of his story.
Starring what's his name? Hannibal Lecter.
John Hurd. No. Oh yeah, John Hurd and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. Fucking.
Let's get to the.
No,
first
wait.
question.
Sorry. There's
Oh.
one thing, and then we get to the first question. The other thing is, when you're a kid,
Pew pew pew.
when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you're a kid,
You're a
all,
kid
the
all the way.
from your first cigarette to your last
last
dying
dying
day. When you're a kid,
Yep.
And you have, say, a single parent like I did for a while.
You did.
It's so thankless being a single parent or a solo parent
Oh, I imagine.
because
Especially dealing with a child with trauma.
yeah.
Sorry.
We were all just gnawing on our feet.
I'm
But
sure.
when you're a kid, you're so self-centered and narcissistic
Right.
that you assume it is the privilege of your parents' lives
Yeah.
to parent you
Oh, sure.
and pick you up from whatever the fuck
Oh, yeah.
and buy you a thing.
Yeah.
And so you're like, you're here to attend to me. I see Oscar already feeling this way, and he fucking tries to order me around.
Yeah.
And succeeds
Why
sometimes.
are you not getting me pizza?
Yeah. I
I
want it now. Stuff like
want
that.
the pizza.
And I'm like, now never works. What am I? And he was like, I was like, you would carry me my backpack when we were walking down the block to summer camp, and I was
Yeah.
like, what am I, your servant? I pull out the Bostonian comes out of me.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the poor kid, he's a narcissist, and they all are.
They are.
And we have to, beat that out of them with mockery. But
Okay.
the point is,
Brendan's dadding tips.
the childing frame of mind is like a mom. You never even thank your mom or whatever.
No, fuck
because she's here. Like she serves at your pleasure.
And she's preventing you from so many things. Like
Yeah.
you're just like you're focused on the things that she's stopping you from doing.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
not focused on all the wonderful things she's giving you. Like
Yeah.
I could give my kids I could spend 2 hours just being like, here's a gift, here's a wonderful gift, here's a snack, here's a gift, and then they're gonna be like, where's the next gift? And I'm gonna be like, I don't have one. And they're like, where's
yeah, you're mean.
Yeah, you're
a
terrible.
mean
You're
person.
stupid. I hate you. Great. Okay.
I know. God, kids are kind of dicks.
They're really dicks. But you know what? The thing that we have to know and embrace and realize as parents, if we care to raise them as a healthy generation instead of, however the baby boomers turned out.
Smoke a cigarette, drink a tab, stare out the window.
Yeah, exactly. If we want to raise them as healthy kids who are in touch with their feelings and can be healthy adults who make the world a better place, then we have to realize that that's just it's inescapable. It's brain. It's their brain. It is a certain way right now, and if we yell at them and scream at them and fight them at every turn, then they're going to find a way to stop being how they are, but really all they're doing is just hiding who they are.
Oh.
Like they're going to find a way to just like hide their natural impulses that like are uncontrollable right now.
Okay.
We just got to set them up for success later.
Okay. But Oscar like pinches me as hard as he can because the devil makes
That's a
him
matter
do
of safety. We've discussed this a million times. When it's a matter of safety, you can punch him in the face. It's totally allowed.
The devil made me do it, that whole thing. He's a walking the devil. Have you ever used that phrase when you were growing up? Or
Sure.
He's a walking that.
Yeah.
He just like punches it. He's like, ugh. And when I was a kid, I used to hug my dad as hard as I could, and I wanted to break him in half with my hug.
Right.
Because I got the quote unquote feeling in the back of my neck.
Yeah,
and I see
you're-
it happen to him too.
You're
'Cause
the
I'm
fucking
spectrum-y, a little spectrum.
Well, but you're Oedipus. You're like, yeah. You had feelings.
No, it wasn't violent though. I didn't want to like hurt him. I just wanted to squeeze him into dust because I loved him so much.
You wanted to hurt him, but it's okay. You can control it. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, yeah, kids do horrible things like that. But I think if it's safety, like you got to be like, no, you can't do that, dude. Like, that's not stifling to me. Like
To be like, don't do things that actually make me yelp in pain.
Yeah, that's like teaching. I mean, maybe it's not teaching. I don't know. I mean, I'm contradicting myself here because in some ways I'm saying like kids are unteachable at that age.
Yeah.
But then I'm also saying like you have to teach them not to hit you. But
right.
I don't know the
or
answer.
Is it a gradual breaking of their spirit so that they eventually become empathic because you've broken them of their cavemanishness?
Well, maybe not breaking. Maybe we're not talking about breaking them of anything. We're talking about like awakening them to something, perhaps. Like it's not. It's like I don't know. I guess. I mean, there's a lot of like I am creating a story here that human beings gravitate towards communal, like gravitate towards connection, right? And that like we really don't want to alienate everyone around us by hurting them.
Yes.
So like that's a core belief I would say I have about the world. And so therefore like that's manifesting itself in every human being, and our children it's manifesting itself in, but like for whatever reason they can't like get there right now. So we got to hang on with them, and like they will get there.
So,
but in the meantime, they can't fucking hit us.
Yeah, don't stop fucking pinching me. So, Brene Brown has the whole thing about like there are two types. They're basically two types of people. People.
Is that the woman from Grace Under Fire?
Is it?
Sorry,
yes.
Go ahead.
Sure, absolutely.
Brene Brown. Okay.
Who says there are two types of people: people who believe they're worthy of love and connection, and people who don't believe they're worthy of love and connection. And the people who don't, I include myself in that crowd, are kind of fucked. Like eventually fail at life because they just can't bring themselves to feel worthy in a way. Whereas the people who do kind of like glide and are like, boy, I really rogered that up. I had a crazy night at work. I set the restaurant on fire. Well, I was fired and I'm looking for a new job. And what a Tuesday.
I guess I'd have to dive deeper into this philosophy. I don't really know that. I don't know that I would and I'd have to hear more about it in order to believe that there is a strict, like, you are in one camp or you are in the other.
She gave a big TED talk about it, and
Okay.
it's like all like fucking love yourself and everything will be fine, or just believe you're worthy of love. So how do we indoctrinate our children that they are worthy of love while getting them to stop hitting us?
I mean, like the base level sort of thing that you want to go for is what's the number one? What's at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy?
Survival.
Safety, survival. Okay, so let's go up a few pegs.
Security, survival,
Security.
security, belonging.
Okay, so security, right?
Recognition.
Like we got to get there with the kids, right?
Yeah.
We got to make them feel secure.
Yep.
That's our basic goal as parents.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the shit will fill itself in.
Okay. Survival,
Was that your question?
security, belonging. I mean, we do make him. He definitely belongs in our family. Recognition. We recognize him. So we just have to wait for him to self-actualize.
Yeah.
All right.
Just wait it out. But I don't know. I'd like to see this TED Talk. It sounds a little bit flip that she's like, there are two types of people in this world. People who are like totally confident and on top of the world, and people who are like living
Fucking
in
losers.
soul-crushing despair all the time, and just be the other one.
I know. She has a nicer way of saying it, but she's also from Texas, you know. You know
Yeah.
Texans.
Well, she's got no issues. I don't know. Some of these things, like, I feel like we're learning more as we go on, that how nature is, like, I recently read a study where like nature is so much more important than nurture. Like, this is generational shit. It's like how the Jews have the Holocaust in their blood. You know?
and the Irish, the famine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just like fucking generations and generations. It's so hard to escape your feelings of unsettled.
Mm-hmm. Anatomy is
Whatever.
destiny.
Yeah, kind of. Let's answer the first question.
Yes, I have thoughts and feelings.
Please, I'd love to hear it. Go.
So,
This is all you.
oh, okay, right, because he brought up the fact that there was some serious second wave feminism going on, and more power to it.
I didn't grow up on a commune, and to be quite honest, I don't really know the difference between first, second, and third wave feminism. And I will also say that you keep making these gestures that are making giant sounds in the microphone. and I
Oh,
don't
sorry,
know what they are.
not our microphones, just this one that doesn't get included in the.
Okay, it's very
about that.
upsetting to me.
Yeah, sorry. I have it's one of these things I keep hitting.
Ah.
You're being upset by that. I appreciate you for telling me that. Oh, I see what's going on here. Oh, you've been very patient with me this whole time.
It's like
Look at this.
well, it's
This
like
is a nightmare.
Gordon Cole, aka David Lynch on Twin Peaks, his
Yeah.
his hearing aid. He's got some.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Issues.
That guy, and I identify a great deal with that man
Yeah.
because of my own hearing issues.
Yeah,
So fucking. It's not going to get any better. I think it just made it worse.
It looks
But now
good.
it looks like a bow tie.
you've got a little bow tie. Brendan's got a little headphone bow tie.
First wave feminism was the suffragettes.
Okay,
Second wave feminism was the 60s.
Third wave is now.
Third wave is
It's all
they're still waiting for it.
higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah, third wave is maybe now.
Yeah.
They're waiting for the next. I mean, has a wave crested?
Yeah.
God knows. I mean, we're still in the aftermath of the second wave. We're still in the sea foam of the second wave.
Got it.
So this was like second wave was like women enter the workplace.
Right. Okay.
And do men enter the domestic sphere?
Pantsuits
No,
and
they
whatnot.
don't. It's just suddenly you double the workforce and then also double the demands on the family budget.
yes, and everyone has to. Now everyone
And
has
work
to
was a
work.
place where everyone was really
And now
lazy.
our productivity went up. And
And-
next it'll be children. Sorry, keep going.
Children working.
Well, we need to keep.
Oh, I know.
Up in the
That's all
productivity.
that's left. Or robots, and then nobody has a job, which is
Oh,
where
you hear about
we
the,
should.
you read this article today about the Facebook robot who invented its own language and they had to shut it down.
Oh, is this like the Microsoft Tay tweets or whatever?
It was similar, but it was more nefarious because it was machine language.
Uh-huh.
So it like came up with this. It was an AI that was like, I don't know what it was doing, like finding ad placement or whatever, and it came up with its own language to communicate with other computers in the matrix, and the scientists couldn't figure out what it was saying, but it was becoming more efficient.
Jesus.
And that's what Elon Musk.
That's Skynet.
That's the scary thing about AI is that you're gonna like tell it to make widgets, and then it's going to fucking murder people in its quest to make widgets because that's its job to make
It's
widgets.
unfeeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is why Elon Musk said that his knowledge of AI was limited.
Oh, is that what he said?
He had a lot of sharp words for Mr. Zuckerberg.
Oh, I see.
And Zuckerberg then came out in his own defense, and this is very interesting.
Okay, but keep
Jesus, terrifying.
Go back.
So,
Skynet. For second wave feminism.
yeah. So, and I think what he was sort of what he was saying was Jose was saying was maybe sort of like the cognitive dissonance between what you know is right and just and the way the world actually works, and so I was sort of raised in this halcyon, utopian environment. Which was all about inclusion and sharing and that kind of stuff.
And Hippie Joe.
Good old Hippie Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would emerge from the railroad tracks. He just felt more
His
comfortable
2
down
teeth.
there. 2 teeth.
And
he lived in a treehouse.
Shirtless.
God
He's
bless
wearing
him.
Wearing his overalls. With
But
no
he
shirt.
had the kindest bud.
Yeah,
he
well,
had
I'm
the
sure he
kindest
did.
bud. And so anyway, there was we were really trying to do something. Our parents were really trying to do something different.
Yes.
And trying to go towards an alternative sort of just way of participating in the economy in the world. The exact things that I yearn for now,
Yes.
and I feel the absence of, they actually deliberately tried to do in a way.
Yes.
But
in their own, but in a different but it was also like sort of ex-Catholic, like you were in a very interesting sort of version of that. You weren't.
Aim that microphone shaft right at your mouth.
Oh, it's not happening.
Nope.
You were sort of in a weird version of that, which we don't need to get into your entire background. But you were like in a sort of educated, like it wasn't together. It wasn't a bunch of like proletariats getting together to like start a commune, right? It was more of like a planned community sort of vibe.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah.
these were all people who had befriended each other in the anti-war movement. They were all ex-clergy. It was a very unique and deliberate situation.
Yeah.
And they were trying to do something very different.
Yeah.
But then we were kind of, as things do, kind of fibrillated, if you will.
Defibrillated, the opposite of.
The opposite of defibrillated.
Okay.
So when you do that, during a heart attack, the fibers of your heart start to let go of each other and come apart, and so they fibrillate.
Okay.
And so then you go like
them back
that,
together?
and they grab each other again, and that's
Oh.
what a defibrillator does.
Interesting.
Is it unfibers your heart because
Wow.
your heart is fibering itself.
Unfire My Heart. That's
Unfire
that's a great twee song.
Unfiber my heart.
Jinka janga jinka janga. Okay.
And so it fibrillated, as things do,
Yeah.
in the mid-'80s, and off we all went. And we were released to the wilds of the American economy, and indeed, suddenly, I'm in this, like, overwhelming high school with Jose.
12 monkeys type situation.
I was just fucking 12 monkeys.
Yeah.
And here's the upshot,
Do.
to answer in a long way his question. I believe I am constantly getting in trouble in my own home for having zero recognition. Not trouble. Emily doesn't yell at me per se, but like this gets me into scrapes with Oscar and with Emily for having no recognition of the kind of any authority being projected onto me whatsoever by my wife or my son. But by the very nature of being, I feel like, a man in my 40s, here's our stumbling block, and it's certainty. Emily says, I hate to air dirty laundry. She's the only member of her immediate family that doesn't listen to Dad Jeans.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
So
They don't ever come back to
Hi,
her and be
everyone
like,
else.
you won't believe what Brendan was saying about
they probably
you.
do all the time, and she's like, "Don't tell me, not
She's like,
interested."
I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm running here. I'm listening to Mary Gross.
Right.
Yeah.
So she has said that when I have a way of saying
Mary
things.
Gross? Terry Gross.
Terry Gross. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. That does make more sense.
Mary Gross is a short-lived Saturday Night Live cast member.
And I thought you meant Mary Hartman.
I believe it was the Tim Kazurinsky season. Mary Hartman, which is a fantastic show. Have you ever watched it?
You at your insistence, and I watched it, and I was like, "What am I watching?"
That's exactly the reaction you're supposed to have.
It was. I mean, it's way ahead of its time and
Yeah.
my time. I'm
Yeah.
not. I won't be ready for that for 200 years.
Okay. We'll put it in the time capsule.
So, fudging. She says that I have a way of putting things that sounds very certain.
Back to certainty.
Yeah.
Oh.
And in
Back to
fact,
certainty.
I'm just trying
Is that
things
our
on.
episode title?
Back to certainty.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm just trying ideas on, but I just have a way of delivering them that is very emphatic.
I have that very issue with my wife.
Oh, she does that too?
No, I do that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I do that. Because I love just in discussions. I love thinking about things and playing devil's advocate and taking different sides and
Inhabiting perspectives.
right. And to her, like, if you say anything, then you are certain of it, and that is
interesting. Which is a paradigmatic.
that must be how you are. And then she gets confused because why are you saying this thing if you don't believe it? And I'm like, I'm thinking.
trying it on.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm with you on that.
So, you're browsing in the store for ideas.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's anathema to the way. Yeah. So she gets thrown a lot. Like it all started when I was. She was wondering. She was holding an avocado and she was wondering if it was ripe. These are California problems.
Yeah.
And
Please.
I was like, oh, you just bust out the stem and look inside, and if it's bright green, you got yourself a ripe avocado.
Never heard that.
yeah.
Fatherly advice.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, okay." And she picked it up, and she was like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's totally ripe." And she cut it open; it wasn't ripe at all.
Oh.
And avocados cost like $2.
Oh yeah,
so they're pretty expensive.
It's absurd.
And so that was a $2 mistake. And she was like, and she's a frugal motherfucker.
Yeah.
And so she was like,
Oh,
she
so
was
pissed.
burned up by the situation. I mean, it was all in good fun, but she was like, she cannot bear to wait $2. However much an avocado costs.
how dare you.
It
How
was.
dare you.
I mean, of all the things to kind of fuck up,
It's 3 for $5. It's basically $2.
it's basic. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's absurd. And so she was like, okay, we're gonna have a talk because you have a way of saying things that sound like you know what you're talking about, and you fucking have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, I'll side with Emily on that one, but keep going.
I'm just trying shit out. I know it's so because it being
You
Irish.
do
I
have
don't
a
know.
lot of facts at your fingertips. They're
Well.
mysteriously. I'm like, really? You read a book on that?
It's not cheap.
No, that's true.
So I memorized introductions to a lot.
Yeah,
I
good
can't
for
read
you.
the whole book.
No, of course not. You just download the sample.
Oh, but did they give you the introduction?
I don't know.
I should
Probably.
I should look into this. If they're giving you the introduction to those samples, I've
That's
wasted
all
a
you
lot
need.
of money.
Yeah, no, that's all you need.
So certainty. So then, but there's a part of me, Jeffrey, that wonders in our male-dominated society, as Jose Michael was identifying,
Right.
and with the and I had a therapist who once referred to the quote unquote testosterone in my voice,
Yeah.
and how I sometimes make Oscar cry if I raise it.
Oh, interesting.
Not
if you
anymore.
raise the testosterone?
No, if I just raise my voice.
Oh.
Like we were watering the neighbor's garden today. They're away, and he like turned the hose on me, and it was kind of an accident, but I yelped in a way that a grown man would. I was like, "Hey!"
Oh, it wasn't like that. Yeah.
But I was like, like I was in a very unfiltered way, suddenly annoyed,
Happens.
loudly,
Happens.
that he sprayed me with water. Who gives a fuck? Because it's 80 degrees and we live in California, but
Yeah,
still,
but don't
like,
spray me with water, dick.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my phone.
Yeah.
Not that I was looking at my phone while we were together or anything.
No, of course. One never does
It was
that.
just holding my hand.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it startles him, and it startles him in general if I get like urgent with him.
Good.
And I know,
Startling.
kind of good. So like, I have and so with Emily and with Oscar, like, are they projecting onto me the thing that I would project onto any like grown man when I was Oscar's age, like, or even a teenager, like someone who's like, there's a heft to that testosterone-y whatever, especially if someone sounds certain.
I've lost the plot here.
Okay, so
Jose's asking, how did second wave feminism affect your something?
it makes me completely unaware of whether there's any heft or weight to whether I am being projected upon with a certain amount of authority just by nature of being a grown man in a family unit.
Because you feel like you're a woman?
I feel like I feel like Emily's the boss.
Okay.
So I'm like, and I'm just like a subordinate, so I can say whatever I want as emphatically as I want.
And that's because you were raised in a world in which it was, your mom was in charge?
Maybe. And women, it was egalitarian, but mostly women had like lots of the power, and men were kind of color commentators.
Okay.
And so, and throughout my life, I've sort of like gravitated towards like the seat of power always seemed to be in the feminine and in female figures in my life. life.
Okay.
So I'm like, it would never occur to me that I could even have a piece of that,
Uh-huh.
much less 50% of it. But I do have 50%. And so I've been trying to remember that
Sure.
for the last week, that I am co-boss of the family.
Sure. And also, like everyone, no one wants to be totally in charge. Like they need that other power seat sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
Everyone
Emily
needs it, right?
doesn't want to be totally in charge.
No one wants that.
No.
It's like, well, that's women's biggest turnoff is a mushy guy.
Right. And,
You don't
and
be
want
that
to,
mushy guy.
And you're looking at the mushiest motherfucker on the planet.
I don't believe that. You've got
feels
rage.
that way.
You've got rage inside you. You just need to
I
let
don't
it
like
out.
it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't
well,
like that
who
rage.
likes it? Who likes rage?
So as a product of long story short, as a product of second wave feminist upbringing,
Yeah.
I have a total blind spot around being a man, and it makes me kind of into super masculine. Like I really admire super masculine points of view and ways through the world.
I will like who? Like UFC?
No, oh god, because of that one guy that broke his calf. Oh, horrible.
You had to watch
But
that
like,
work
you're-
over and over again.
Yeah, your Bills Burr, your
Yeah.
others, people who
Well, those people are certain
guys,
certain guys.
guys.
Bill
Yeah.
Bill Burr's an interesting case, though. He's like a intellectual guy.
Yeah, but in Boston, they all are.
Really?
That's the problem. He's from Boston. So is Louis C.K. They're all from Boston.
I wouldn't call Louis C.K. a guy's guy.
No, he's a sort of a feminine guy, but he's feminine masculine.
He's a little mushy. Well, but
Little mushy.
they're all like I'm not attracted to domineering types.
No.
I feel like that's the if you were to hang out with a Louis C.K. for too long, you'd be like, yeah, I'm tired of you being AMOGing me. You know that phrase AMOG?
No.
Alpha male of the group.
Oh.
Dude just walking around AMOGing you.
Wow, I never heard that before.
Being like, hey, nice shirt, Brendan. Like that's your fucking AA. You're like, go AMOG yourself, dude. Shall we move on, because we've spent a lot of time on this question, which is amazing.
Uh-huh.
So happy to Jose Michael Rodriguez. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
For calling in.
Thank you.
That was really
Rich.
a rich discussion.
Yeah,
But we also have other things to get through tonight.
I suppose.
Minor things.
But thank you. That detonated a lot of introspection, so much so that I feel like I dominated the whole thing for like 45 minutes.
No, not at all. We had. I was curious to hear where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
I hope our listeners don't mind that we're not cracking the jokes every 2 seconds.
You know, I feel that after every episode, and then I listen back and I'm like, oh, actually, we were kind of funny that time.
Yeah, we were kind of
Maybe
funny.
this time is different.
I thought the intro last week, the first 10 minutes of last week, were solid gold.
Solid gold.
I laughed. I LOL'd
I LOL too.
to myself.
Yeah.
Driving in my car, I was like, we're so funny.
I know. This is a certain, yeah.
Yep.
But after, I'm always like, nah, that one was kind of like lackluster. But
Yeah, it
then,
always
you
feels
put it
that
out
way.
there, and you're like, oh, actually, it wasn't bad.
You're like, it wasn't bad. We have things to say.
You look, Jeff. We have chemistry.
Chems of chemistry.
I don't know what makes you tick.
Well, that's
or
why we're married.
what your deal is.
No, I have no idea who the fuck you are.
And if our listeners could only know what it's like after I hit stop on the recorder, it's so awkward.
Weird. It's so
It's
weird.
and I just can't wait to get out of
I
here.
just want, like, I'm just like,
God.
it's like Brendan starts taking his shirt off.
Yeah, and I just want to get my hands on that.
Let's do leisure class.
Okay.
Come on, everybody. We're going to school. Now it's time to find out what Dad thinks is cool. It's leisure class. Dad Jeans leisure class.
Brendan, you had a great leisure class.
Oh
this
yeah.
week.
Holy fuck.
Oh.
Have you watched The Keepers on the Netflix?
I've never even heard of the Keepers.
Oh my god, you're so lucky you get to watch it for the first time. Dude.
Really?
Okay, so this whole long form episodic documentary form, like Making a Murderer, that has
Yeah.
begun to happen.
Yeah.
Serial, all these things.
Oh, is this a nun thing?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen the picture of it on my Netflix, but I
Dude, I know. And you
haven't
will look and
dived.
you're like, nuns? I don't know.
yeah.
It is. And the pilot you watch and you're like, oh, okay, so it's kind of a whodunit.
And it's a documentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but then you watch the second episode and you start to look like
Okay. I'm already on board.
it is. And then the third, you're like, this can't get any deeper and more fucked up. And then the fourth, you're like, oh my god, it's a hellmouth. Jeffrey, there is actual evil in the world.
From nuns, or are the nuns
No.
combating the evil?
The nuns are almost always combating the evil. They're only mean to children, and children should get
They deserve it.
Children deserve it.
Yeah.
Nuns in the real world are fucking badass motherfuckers.
They are pretty badass. It's true.
They're badass. They're out there teaching. They're being mean to our kids so we don't have to.
And they're activating, man. They're out there
Big
like
time.
stopping shit.
The
from
world needs
happening.
many more nuns and far fewer priests.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. Accurate.
Yeah. There's a convent actually a block from my house. I always try and be like, buena mañana, hermana.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know how to say it really in Spanish.
No, Buena Armada Marmada or whatever you just said. I think it's probably
nice,
right.
nice boat, sister.
Nice boat. Can that be a Dad Jeans t-shirt? Nice boat, sister. Will you throw me that?
Yeah,
pen?
nice legion of boats, sister.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So, can you give me any insight? Can you?
I almost don't want to spoil it, but it's just like you watch the Catholic fucking church
Yeah.
completely colossally fail at being remotely ethical as an organization.
Ooh.
And it's that old story, but
Yeah, that
to
old
a
canard.
degree, that old canard.
Yeah.
The fact that that's an old canard.
Yeah.
I mean, to a degree, the Catholic Church. I'm going on the record, Jeff.
Do.
Like Scaramucci when he called Ryan Lizza.
Please. The mooch.
The
Tell it.
the Catholic
Preach.
Church, the entire thing
Everything about
needs
it.
to be shut the fuck down. Shut it down.
It's like the mafia, right? Or it's like the worse than the mafia.
It's so much worse than the mafia.
It's like
The mafia, like, yes, they had like victims financially, and I'm sure they're actually. No, the mafia is just as bad now that I think about it.
well, I'm sure they're connected to the Catholic Church, right?
Oh yeah, oh totally. I mean, if you'll believe Godfather 3, if you saw Godfather 3,
I did not see Godfather 3, but I'm sure that there is. I mean, they're in fucking Italy. It's the Vatican. Come on.
yeah,
They
and
gotta be dealing
right,
with
exactly. I mean, in Godfather 3, like
Cosa
popes
Nostra.
get assassinated because of the mob. It's like crazy.
Wow.
That's like that. That's that guy who's like he was already like venting wine,
Yeah.
and he was like, let's do one more and let's just make it the hugest, most ridiculous movie of all time,
How about this?
starring my daughter.
Yeah. Speaking of his daughter, how about her new movie?
I have a thought. I have two thoughts about her.
Okay.
I fucking hate rich people and the domination of the wealthy like storytelling narrative and the co-opting of the American narrative by the plutocracy. And she is the worst of that on the most nepotistic and blind spotty level, making movies about like some rich actor who
Blindspotting.
lives
I love that movie.
blind spotting.
Yeah.
making one of her movies was about fucking
Yeah.
a rich
Stephen
actor who
Dorff.
lived in the Marmont Hotel,
Yeah.
the Jorah Marmont Hotel, and only Dave Dowling's gonna get that and
I
laugh
think
at
it was
that.
called Sitting by the Pool. I believe was the name of this movie.
Sitting by the pool, wondering how long you've been staying in this hotel is what it was called. And his like daughter, and I'm sure she's precocious.
Yeah.
And it's like fuck you and your like complete misunderstanding
Ennui.
of how
Ennui by the
ennui the
pool.
wealthy. And so yes,
Ennui Pool. That's what it was called.
Lost in Translation was brilliant, but it was also about like the photographer who's successful, and then this other guy.
Suicides I
Everyone's
loved. Yeah.
and sure, Virgin Suicides or whatever. But that was just like a music video.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I don't remember, having seen it in a while, but I enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed it as I
Yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah. It was very of its time of the '90s or whatever. But like, and
Yes.
she's actually very talented as a director because all she has to do all day is think about how to be a good director,
Well, actually,
and also
one
have
could
all the
argue that
opportunity
it's
in the
actually
world.
Lance Secord, her cinematographer, who is very talented.
Well,
but
and there you go.
keep going.
It's always. Here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing.
I don't want to hate. I want to matriculate.
Is that a line from Virgin Suicides?
No, I just made it up.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Don't hate. Matriculate.
That'll be. You know what that's going to be?
Yeah.
That's
Dad
going to
Jeans
be
University's motto.
Melania Trump's "Just Say No."
Matriculate. That's pretty good.
Since I have a wife who's a cinematographer, you know what it turns out?
Yeah.
All directors are fucking somebody's nephew.
I think you said that last week.
Oh, I already said it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But it's probably true.
Anyway.
Nancy Pelosi's nephew for the most part.
Oh, you know what? My dad was in the
I haven't
seminary.
watched your dad's movie yet.
My dad has a movie.
Oh yeah, you put it up online.
Oh, the slideshow I made.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
was
yeah,
it a slideshow? I thought it was that whole thing.
The documentary?
Yeah.
It's a slideshow.
Oh, okay.
But, that was all he had at hand in the 70s. So when he was in the seminary...
Made do. What a creative guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi, like film strips from the classroom. That's what he did.
Oh.
Yeah. Boop. And then you do it.
Awesome.
You rotate. Nancy Pelosi was at GW while he was in the seminary.
Yeah.
And they used to be kind of like grown altar boys while they were in the seminary for the masses that happen at GW.
Okay.
And Nancy Pelosi was a student there and would come up to get communion.
Yeah.
And they were all like, oh, Nancy Pelosi.
Really?
Like they were, whatever.
Was that pretty?
Yeah, she was apparently like a stone cold
Knockout.
fox knockout.
I could see that.
And all the seminarians were deeply in love with her.
I believe that.
Pelosi's her married name, though. I can't remember what her other name was. But
Love it.
They were like, Nancy was there.
Where are we at? No, okay, so you had two things to say about Sofia Coppola. One of them being, I don't remember. And the other being...
Anyway, who knows?
Well,
who knows? I say the same shit every week. Everyone already knows.
Her new movie apparently is about the Civil War, and it's being...
lauded, right?
It's being lauded from certain circles, but this was also something you liked. You liked my post on Twitter today, where I was like, "Is To Kill a Mockingbird?"
Oh yeah,
considered the best novel in American history because it absolves white people from the sins of slavery. Mm-hmm. Is that what we're talking about here? And so like this movie she's made, apparently it's about the Civil War and it has nothing to do with like the slave experience or something, or maybe it's just like there are slaves in it who are just like happily going about their business and she never addresses them. And it's like it's even more, it's what all the criticisms, like what you just described are the majority of criticisms against Sofia Coppola, and she just like went full on into that and was like, yeah, I'm going to make a movie about Reconstruction.
About the obtuseness of the wealthy.
I guess so, yeah, in the Civil War.
Yeah, well, that's, and she did it with Marie Antoinette too. I think someone probably laid it out for her and was like, look, you do not understand how the world works, so just write what you know.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
I don't have a leisure class this week.
Watch The Keepers.
Okay, I'll watch The Keepers.
Holy fuck.
Very excited to watch it. I just keep going with Twin Peaks. It's every week it's a new fucking delicious little nugget waiting to be popped into my mouth and chewed on.
I'm gonna catch up with you on that.
I hope so.
I started watching Archer. Did you watch Archer ever?
I have watched I've watched a few episodes of Archer. I quite enjoy it. I have to keep going with
smart.
It feels smart.
It's so quick. I didn't realize that TV writing was at this level.
Yeah.
Where it's like witty and references fling by.
Yeah.
And they don't have like
but
everyone.
Not like Family Guy style. Where
No.
Like, oh, the Pillsbury Doughman, and then it's gonna be like suck my dick, and everyone's
right,
the Pillsbury
exactly.
Doughman said suck my dick. That's hilarious.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I did see one of those where they were talking about the Disney straight to DVD spin-offs, one of the cut scenes from Family Guy, and it was something like Snow White goes to the optometrist.
Okay.
Because it's like they just pump out DVDs.
Yeah.
And the optometrist is like, is this better? Is it sharper or duller? Sharper, duller. And she was like, the first one. The second one. And it was like a really long scene of just deciding which was better.
All right.
That's pretty funny.
I'm sure there's funny enough.
Enough.
Let's move on to Spike Club.
Oh, let's move on to Spike Club.
I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! Spy Club! I hate you! I hate you! I hate you! Spy Club! Fuck!
I'll tell you what I fucking hate, Brendan.
I can't wait to hear
I
it.
have two things. Spike Club, this is the segment where we talk about things we hate. Talk about things we hate.
Things we fucking can't stand.
Fucking can't stand. This kind of piggybacks off of something that you said last week, which was people who say your fatherly advice last week was never say help me.
I don't remember. Shit.
Never say
I'm the type of person that
no. That's a classic.
never tell a story in which you're the hero or the victim.
No, but that's a great one too. I forget what you said last week, but it just made me think of things that drive me fucking crazy that people say. And when people say, "Remember when I told you that?"
As I mentioned Was that what I said last week?
You said, as I mentioned, no, that was something you texted, I believe.
Oh yeah.
But just like when people are trying to describe, like I work with this woman who is like, I'll say, hey, where are the files for this? And she'll be like, remember I told you they're in this folder?
How dare she?
Exactly.
What the fuck?
And
Was
you're
she
just
born
like,
on Mars?
yeah,
you
it's
don't
horrible.
do that.
It's horrible.
You don't do that.
In your head, you say, I already told him this information.
Yeah.
And then you say out of your mouth, they're in this folder. You don't connect the two.
You're right.
You don't connect the two.
Yeah, you don't say the loud thing quiet and the quiet thing loud.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you say to her, no, I totally remember, but I figure I want to see your mouth move because you got a pretty mouth. Say it again.
Oh, Jesus, Brendan. You
sorry.
do have rage inside you. No, the problem with people like that is that the snark, there's no snark that you can. It's like when you say to someone, you're welcome, and then like, what are you supposed to say? I didn't say thank you. It's like when you're just like they don't say thank you to you and you're like, you're welcome. They're like, well, I didn't say thank you, dude. It's like there's nothing you can say back to people who are passive aggressive to you. And another one similar to that is when you are going the wrong way, like you take a wrong turn or something, and the person who is in the car with you says, where are you going?
Well, I like an open-ended, like,
yeah,
where am I going?
Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I trust that you know where you're going, but where is it? And it's just like an asshole way of saying, I think we made a wrong turn.
Yeah.
Like, just say, ooh, I don't think this is right.
Oh, just keep it to yourself. Last week I said, don't correct people. That's what I said.
Correct people.
Hey, and you know what? Actually, with the exception of a recent thing that happened recently, when people miss their turns,
yeah,
I have gotten to the point where I don't even bring it up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe.
I mean, if it's getting egregious and insane,
right.
But they usually like, even if you don't bring it, they figure it out like a couple of seconds after you would have mentioned it anyway.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, oh yeah, well yeah, whatever.
Sarah and I, our car rides are just a constant ball of tension. We're always fighting in the car.
There are very different ways through the world. Wayfinding is very tricky, especially like, two people knowing each other a long time, different genders.
Yeah.
Emily's often in charge of the navigation, and we miss every fucking turn.
It's a nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare.
When she's got the map,
yeah.
And I'm like, tell me what the next thing is. And she's like, I'll tell you when we get there. And then we miss the turn. And I'm like, okay, this is literally the 600th time this has happened. Yeah. And it just happened now. And I'm like, okay, just tell me. And she's like, no, I'll tell you when we get there. Then we miss that turn. And then I'm like, okay, I'm actually starting to get mad.
Prepare me.
Yeah, give me the next two things.
Yeah.
But she's actually gotten better. But for a long time, it was like a pattern. Yeah. And I don't know why. Like, I do have rage inside me. And poor Emily has to bear the brunt of a lot of it because who gives a shit? Because we're together. We're family. We're having fun.
Yeah, but you do give a shit. Like, unless she's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, you can't be like, oops, you missed your turn, dude. Like, you don't want to be like, you know what I mean? It's like, if someone is aware that this is a problem that they have, but like, you don't want someone not telling you where to turn and then being defensive about it.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of feelings right
now.
You
guys are going to get a divorce. I think that's what's coming out on Dad Jeans tonight.
No, it's better. It has been corrected, and I have the bad habit of indicting her for things that that I had a problem with in the beginning of our relationship, which was now 6 years ago. Our anniversary is in 3 days.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 6 years.
I've been married 4 years longer than you.
Your 10th is
Holy
coming?
Guacamole, yeah.
Should I get you like a gift or something?
Yeah, wood.
Oh, I'll give you a gift of wood.
Baby. Yeah, you will give me a gift of wood. All right. No, yeah. Directions are a nightmare. It's fucking just driving next to someone. I always feel like I'm sorry, I'm saying like I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? I did the wrong thing. And then Sarah's just like, why did you tell me to do that? She's much more. This is very much where her like manly side comes out. Like she never feels any guilt for fucking up driving. And I always feel totally guilty. Like I've set our family back years. Like if I don't turn at the right place.
Jeffrey, you are worthy of love and connection. You can't see, but Jeff is crying. Very convincingly.
No one's ever told me that. That was fun. Do you have a spike?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Every sound mixer for Hollywood cinema for the last 10 years, I'm going to fucking find you, I'm going to fucking kill you, and I'm going to kill your family.
Mucka-fucka.
Jeff,
Yeah.
every 14 months,
Yeah.
I manage to line up all the goddamn planets into a
your ass.
syzygy
Yeah.
that will allow me to go to a fucking movie.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to like to do all the time.
Right. But here's where you're an asshole. Because you're like, I'm going to make this count. So I'm going to go to the fucking Enormo Dome and I'm going to see some shit that is going to blow my fucking ass out of my cockhole on the big screen and take it from there.
And right, exactly. So I'm like, oh, the new that new movie Dunkirk,
Yep.
about the French seaside,
Right.
is coming out, and by that Christopher Nolan character, many of whose movies I've enjoyed quite much.
He's esteemed.
He's esteemed.
He's known to be a director of sorts.
He is.
Of note.
Memento, of course, was his best work.
I think he's got a fantastic veneer, that fella.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe like when you think too long about his films, they don't quite come together in the way you want them to.
Sure. Yeah. And they're kind of like, starring Photoshop
Yeah. But
as After Effects.
what are some Memento? What did he do after that?
I did the Batman
Prestige?
movies.
I like that quite a
The
bit.
Prestige, yeah.
The Batman movies?
Was Prestige
just-
the one with the twins?
They're so dour. Prestige was the David Bowie and the
Where he's in a
magician
maze
movie.
and Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah, exactly. Run, magic, run. Or was it like dance, magic, dance? We're all gonna dance. All my Muppets and me.
That is an uncanny impression of David Bowie.
Thank you.
And so I go to the fucking Enormo Dome,
Right.
the legendary Cinerama
The
Dome here in
Globo.
Los Angeles, California.
Yep.
And, you got to buy tickets in advance. They're like $20.
Of course they are.
And I'm like, this is going to be great. Reserved seating, going with a bunch of other people who it turns out I didn't know anybody except poor Greg Felden. And I say poor Greg
Why
Felden.
poor?
Well, because he was like, hey, everyone want to have dinner? And no one showed up except for me. And he was like, you, I know. And like all these other people were, I don't know, it's a long story. But it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So he and I sat
Lisa
there and like,
Kudrow there?
I'm sure she will. Oh, everyone's famous in that lobby.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You're always like, that is one that lady on
Scott
Grey's Anatomy.
Pendergrass, close
Yeah.
friend, you know.
So, anyway, we go in
Yeah.
and we watch this movie.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: everyone's all about the Dunkirk right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It was just like I watched the preview and I was like, I feel like I've seen the whole thing watching the trailer. And then you watch the movie and I'm like, I feel like I've seen the whole 10-hour movie watching the 2-hour trailer.
Uh-huh.
It's a 2-hour trailer.
Super long?
No, it's an hour 40 or whatever. And
really?
but like there isn't really a beginning, middle, and end. I couldn't get a purchase on the fucking movie because the sound mixer was so scared of Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan, who were up each other's ass about that octave thing you posted about some fucking phenomenon of sound energy or whatever.
I don't know
that
that I did
they
that.
were like,
oh,
you know
no,
what?
I did. I sent that to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were like, we don't need dialogue. Let's just pull the dialogue back and it can just be explosions and Hans Zimmer like putting his coffee cup down on the synthesizer and being like, no, actually, let's leave that in where I put the coffee cup on the keys and I forgot
So
about it
swelling,
for 2 days.
Swelling music the whole time?
And it's like you're actually listening to Hans Zimmer watch the movie. You're not watching the movie.
Oh, God.
Which is true of anything he does. He seems like a charmer based on his masterclass thing.
I just know he was in the Buggles, so
What?
I'm charmed.
He was?
Yes, he was.
Oh, that's great. I don't know why. I can't help but like Hans Zimmer for reasons I don't even understand. But him in the mix, like whoever strong arms the final mixer, he torpedoed, no pun intended, this movie. I could not understand. I could understand 19% of the dialogue.
Wow.
So therefore, I don't give a fuck who dies. And they all look exactly alike. The casting was terrible.
You couldn't understand it because there was so much music happening?
And it was just muffled. And they're British. But the British thing was fine.
But is
but
it because there are planes like bombing them and stuff? And they're like, get away from... Like really all they're just saying is like, don't go near the bomb!
Yeah,
you
basically.
really didn't need to hear it. Like it was fine that you.
Well,
missed that
that's
dialogue?
his contention too, according to Brian L. Perkins, which
I
makes
see.
me even more furious.
Why
because my
have dialogue?
my
Why make
hearing
a
is already
movie?
going. Don't
Make
yeah.
a
Why have
silent
them
movie.
speak? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like make a why have anyone say anything
Sure.
if you're not going to let us hear what they're saying, but you're going to make it seem like we should be able to, and then we just leave frustrated. Who wins? Who wins?
Fair. No one wins.
And it could be me. I was a rock drummer. I have tinnitus, so I get all emotional anyway. Like I'm going deaf, and that makes me
Yeah.
really upset. But I'd like to fucking be able to hear the
It just
goddamn
sounds
dialogue.
like you were irritated by the
I was
movie.
completely irritated by it.
Was there anything in the visuals that you
Oh, sure.
like? You really, but really, you just went to this movie and you're like, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, or I do, and it didn't seem enough to even
It
be a
wasn't
movie.
compelling.
It wasn't compelling. It was like it was a strung together footage. It was almost like reportage. It's like this. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the difference between then and but.
Okay.
So
Oh, sure.
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Not really.
Okay.
Kind of.
So what I
Then
mean
this
is
happens, then this
the-
happens.
yeah,
then this
yeah,
happens.
yeah, exactly. So
Right.
like There Will Be Blood was the exact same thing. It's like and the Master was this way too. This, then this, then this, then this,
Okay.
then this,
Right.
then this credits, and everyone's
Okay.
like standing and giving a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But everyone else is like, but it should be this, but this,
I see.
but
I see.
this,
I see.
but this.
Right.
et
You
cetera.
need surprise.
Yeah.
There's no surprise. when
Exactly.
It's just linear and there's nothing happening other than the linear spooling out of the story. I think people are like, it's the I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but like, I find I had no love for Saving Private Ryan. It's just like,
That's another thenner.
it's like an excuse for people to have no edge, to just be like, it's just like, what are you fucking telling me? Like, like war is made by all these people who have never been anywhere near a war. Like,
Right.
Fucking Christopher Nolan and Steven Spielberg. I mean, at least Oliver Stone knew what he's talking about in Platoon. You know?
Exactly.
It's like,
and the actors neither are all these like yoga doing tofu snarfers.
yeah. So it's just like fucking like war porn, and
Yeah.
you're like, I don't need to watch someone else's conception of a great like moment in humanity. You know, it's just like when
It's pornography.
yeah, it is pornography. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe it's amazing. It could be amazing.
It would be amazing if you understood what people are fucking talking
It
about.
feels like the kind of thing to me, though. Like it feels like I feel Spielberg is so guilty of this. Just like I'm like he
Stroking off.
knows
Muscle
how to.
flexing.
They know how to they know how to paint all the dots that spell importance. Like,
Yeah, right, exactly.
you know, it's like, boom, here I'm going to do this. And like they're master craftsmen in that respect, but it's like assembling like a really ugly shelf.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's
that's-
IKEA furniture.
Yeah, it's amazing that you
the
put
most
that shelf together. Like,
Yeah.
but
And you have your own set of Allen wrenches to do it.
okay, well, let's move on to our last segment, fatherly advice.
Oh, let's indeed fatherly advice.
Yes. Help me, Daddy. Fatherly advice. Help me, Daddy. Fatherly advice. My fatherly advice this week, Brendan, it's born of the ad industry, and maybe you can help me flesh this out to explain how it could apply to other people out there in the world. Did you just is there some nasty message about me on your phone?
No.
Is that why you just flipped your phone over?
No.
What's that fucker Jeff doing? Is that what it said?
Yes.
Tell that fucker Jeff he owes me $10.
It's from Emily. That is what it said.
Said, tell that fucker Jeff to leave you alone and get home, because I've been away for 3 months and I need you home and right now. Fuck her. We're going out drinking.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude to your wife.
Should we go down to that
Tiffany America.
Should we go down to that bar down there?
It's a little bit of a situation.
You owe people money.
Yeah, I owe some people money. My fatherly advice this week is never pick a favorite. It felt profound.
Like at the horse track?
Well, no. Where it came from is when you are presenting ideas to a client,
Mm-hmm.
they ask you which is your favorite, and you pick a favorite, and inevitably they will tell you that's not my favorite. Or they will make you justify why you pick that as your favorite, and you won't really have a justification, and then you'll feel like defensive of it, and then suddenly you own it, and then you're like, why did I pick a fucking favorite? Like, I'm working for a client. Like, the client is like, it likes terrible things. Like, just let the client pick the favorite. None of these are my favorite. I hate all of them.
Yeah, I hate all of them, and I hate your business,
and I hate you. I
your
hate
business.
having
I hate
to be
you.
here.
I hate your face.
Like, yeah,
I hate your
I
ass
I don't
face.
have a favorite. It's like I would imagine probably waiters have to go through this. Like our friend.
What's
Nick.
your my favorite is the most expensive fucking thing,
Yeah.
along with the most expensive cocktail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like it could be more profound than it was where it came from, but to me, I guess like somehow it's saying that you'll just be crushed. You will just be crushed if you have any attachment to anything in your work life.
Here's what it is.
Don't
Jeff.
bother to pick a favorite, Brendan.
You know what they're doing?
What?
You know what they're doing to you?
Yeah.
It's in this tyranny of collaboration. You know, I'm a devoted hater of
You
collaboration.
hate collaboration.
I think it's the worst thing of all time.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is separate you, juicy elk that you are,
Yeah.
from the rest of the pack,
Okay.
so that you can be devoured by
Okay.
their want of ideas. Excuse me. So the
Oh, look at that.
So-
Text from Emily.
what is going on with you two?
Nothing. I'm turning my phone over so I can't see the message. Like you wouldn't show me.
I just don't want to be distracted. I want you to have my undivided attention.
Let's keep going.
So, so what I mean is, no one wants to commit to an idea and be the first one to
That's absolutely
appear
true.
stupid. And so, therefore, they're trying to get you to do the stupid thing
That's
first.
absolutely true.
So they can pounce on it, stand on top of your dead carcass, and be like, because actually,
Right.
and you eliminate one of the
true.
ideas that way.
It's true.
And then they can brainlessly have fewer ideas to choose from and
Right.
have a better mathematical chance of being right.
It's true. And as I was talking to Brian, we were talking to Brian L. Perkins about this, and he said that his ad agency that he worked for would only present one idea. They'd say, go all in on one idea.
Oh, that's
and I'm like,
interesting.
It's very confident, and I certainly appreciate that because I think people hate having to make decisions.
Yep.
And often I like coming up with a lot of ideas. So I'll be like, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that. And that's like the fun part to me.
Uh-huh.
But like no one wants to hear that because then they're going to have to be like, I have to choose something. I don't know what I'm doing. You're the creative person. Just make it for me.
Yeah, right.
So
One idea.
one idea.
Bold, confident.
Okay, what do you got?
I don't hate that.
What do you got?
Here's what saved my marriage with Emily Topper, with whom I'm desperately in love.
I think we completely negated anything you're about to say with our discussion tonight. I think
the obvious tension in my marriage has
you
been
have
bubbling to the surface.
Yeah, we've destroyed your marriage again. Whatever saved it before, like
We've
tonight
redestroyed it.
we redestroyed it.
I know.
Tell me.
We're in a great period. We here's two, and I've mentioned this before, alphas in beta clothing
Okay.
that are actually betas on the inside, but actually deeper than that, they are indeed alphas.
Okay.
So you understand? So that's 4 layers.
Yeah, your Russian nesting dolls of
of alpha, beta, alpha, beta, alpha, beta, alpha, beta.
yeah.
Came together, and we locked antlers a number of times. We had a lot of things to sort out, but they're sorted.
Okay.
And we could not be happier.
Okay.
We're having a great time. Here's where it all turned. Here's where it all turned the corner. Like,
Yes.
you remember my my room draft where we each got a part of the house.
Yes.
My 100-100 theory.
Yes.
We're both 100% all the time.
I hear all this.
We started to give each other the finger,
Okay.
and we've never been more in love.
Okay.
So when one of us, when she starts to get on my case about something that is a particular like hobby horse of hers that drives her, or pet peeve that drives her crazy,
Right.
and starts to spin her wheels, and the smoke starts to come from the tires.
Yeah.
I just give her the finger while she's talking
flip
to
her
me,
off.
and we both kind of giggle about it.
Yeah.
It puts it in the right context where she still has my attention and I'm listening, but this is
Interesting.
part of that old saw, and here's my middle finger because I'm a do me.
Wow.
And then she does the same thing to me, and we both larf and larf. and it's great. But it allows us to, because we're both these like beta youngest on the inside, and there's a power vacuum always, and we project the authority onto each other, but not ourselves.
Okay.
It empowers we ourselves to be like, I'm listening, but go fuck yourself. But I am listening, and I
Okay.
love you, but go fuck yourself. But I'm
Okay.
listening. And it's great. It might only work if both of you are youngest and there's a power vacuum, but giving each other the finger while the other person is dressing you down has been magic.
Wow. I'm going to try it. Sounds magical.
Yeah, you kind of have to. I can't remember how we brokered it into this like laughy joke realm.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to make sure everyone's in on the gag.
Yeah.
But you get to that magical place, and holy shit, it's just sex for days.
And I'll tell you what I'm certain about, Brendan. That's a joke that will never get old.
What's that?
Just giving each other the finger. I think you guys are gonna be doing that forever now.
We're definitely gonna be doing it forever. We're like 6 months in, and we've never been happier.
I love it. I love it. Well, I would fuck either of you, and that's been Dad Jeans. Oh no, I would give you either of you the finger.
Wait, same thing. Wait,
Oh, I would finger either of you.
the either.
I don't know. This is terrible. I
Terrible.
thought I had a
We've
good
lost all
ending.
our listeners.
We did. Brendan, I'm so sorry. I'm yawning like there's no tomorrow. I'm so exhausted.
Well, it's a million at night.
All right, everybody. Good night. We love you, Dad Jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Aviento.
Even Jared Kushner's a listener. I love Dad Jeans.
Terrible. All right, good night.
Good night.
Dad!